everyone, and welcome to the Pickle Tree. I am Tovar Perry, and this is a podcast where I just ramble on for 30 minutes. As some of you may know, I am fat. A month ago, or two, about 2 months ago, I was 400 pounds. And recently, I lost that weight. I got down to 370 in around like 2-3 weeks because I started eating a lot less. I started a fat burning pill that is helping me a lot, and just overall, because I was eating a lot less, my stomach got to shrink a little bit, and I got full very quickly. And I'm very proud of myself, but at the same time, I've been maintaining 370 pounds for about a month now, and it's been very difficult because it's been fluctuating up and down very rapidly, and I'm just wanting it to go down. So I was looking into gyms, and I was like, I would love a gym, but I don't want to pay for one because it's extremely expensive, and I could do most of the exercise myself without the machines. And all of you are probably wondering, like, well, why don't you? Why don't you do all that? Because, like, the machines are going to help me keep going at it rather than me giving up more quickly. A gym is air conditioned. It has TVs to entertain you. You have the chance of actually talking to people and having social interaction. You have, the chance to make new friends there and junk. And it's just a little bit more of a structured environment rather than you walking in the middle of the woods or walking down a bike trail in the middle of the night, because the biggest issue that I have is that I get a lot of energy in the middle of the night. I'm actually recording this at what time is it? 5 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't slept yet. I have horrible insomnia, and I get a lot of energy when it's the middle of the night and I can't sleep. So I was thinking to myself, well, I need a place to go where I don't feel like I'm going to get mugged and be able to just exercise for however long it takes me to get all this energy out so I can go home and go to bed. And Planet Fitness is a great example of an awesome gym. The only problem is that it costs money, which I do not have. And it just makes me think, like, my medical insurance is like, oh, you gotta lose weight. It's not healthy. It's not good for you to be this big. And I'm like, well, then can you pay for my gym membership? No. You gotta pay that out of pocket. Okay, can you pay for the gluten-free diet stuff that is a little bit more expensive? Oh, no. You gotta pay that out of your own pocket. Okay, it seems like you really don't care about my weight. Oh, yes, we do. We really do care, and you definitely gotta lose it. You gotta stick to your gluten-free diet, and you gotta exercise a lot more and probably start a gym membership. Huh. Okay. And it just, I don't know, it makes no sense. Why can't insurance companies pay for you? Or why can't a gym let you be a free member if you are over a certain weight for your body type? Because I know, I think it's BMI or something like that. It's like a calculation of your age, your height, and your weight, and like how bad like you really should worry about losing weight, and how much of your weight is because of your tallness and your muscle, and how much of it is actually just blubber and mayonnaise. But, like, everyone just wants money. And sure, Planet Fitness is $10 a month, and it's not that big of a deal. But at the same time, I don't know how often I will use it. I am a very busy person that has a lot of online things like YouTube, and now this podcast, and Twitch, and online friendships that I need to maintain that are on Xbox and PC and everything like that. And I have a job, which is retail, where I have to be on my feet all day. And the two biggest worries about being part of a gym membership is A, how much time am I actually going to spend doing that stuff, and when am I going to find the free time in my day to exercise, and then B, when I do exercise, I'm going to be in excruciating pain for the next day or two, depending on how far I go. And if I don't go far enough, then am I really utilizing the gym as much as I should? Or is it just the same amount of exercise that I can get walking around or lifting heavy stuff in my normal daily life? And it's a very like complicated dilemma that I have. Like, why pay $10 a month just to walk on a treadmill when I could walk in public? But at the same time, I could walk in public, yes, but there's the fear of walking in the middle of the night when I usually have my most energy, that I might get mugged and everything like that. So it's like a big endless loop of, why should I pay for something that I don't know how often I'm going to use, bottom line. But at the same time, when I did go to the gym often, I had a personal trainer in high school, and his name was Derek. Shout out to you, Derek, if you're listening. And he helped me lose a lot of weight. I went from being this very pudgy, round kid to actually very slimmed down, a lot of loose skin, but I was slimming down quite a bit. More clothes were fitting me, and more pants were extremely baggy on me and everything, and I had to wear belts and junk like that and go down sizes in clothes and whatnot. And he ended up moving, and I was extremely upset by that. But to be fair, I did fall out of going to the gym because I ended up going to school in excruciating pain, and I was unable to do anything. And some days I would have to call into school because I was not physically capable of getting out of bed without screaming in agony from my back and my legs and my arms and my neck and my toes. Literally every part of my body was in excruciating pain and felt like it was on the verge of getting a cramp or was constantly having a cramp. And he understood and whatnot, but at the same time he was like, well, that's just part of exercise. That's just a thing that you had to deal with and push through. And I'm like, I can't push through this when I have shul. And it was so weird to basically say I couldn't go. But then when I was finally graduated from school and I had no more obligations and I was ready to go back, it turns out that he moved to Florida. I don't know what it is about Florida. A lot of my family has moved out to Florida. My father has moved out to Florida. My cousins and him, Derek, one of my grandmother's friends, who is an actress, an amazing actress, she lives out in Florida. Juke Squad and Tifu, two of my favorite famous people. I so wish that I could meet them in person. They live in Florida, and it's like, what the hell is in Florida that I do not know about other than blazing heat and a lot of water? from the hurricanes. Bad natural disaster joke, but we got to learn how to be a little bit more open to that. But yeah, like I would love to lose a lot of weight quickly, but at the same time not go through a lot of pain and not spend a lot of money, if possible, nothing at all. So if anyone has a super awesome remedy for that fits all of those needs, and I will lose like 10 pounds maybe every 2 weeks, that would be extremely helpful, and I will love you forever. But I will also question if you are a witch, because that is more than likely impossible to do. But when I was talking to my grandmother about this, I was like, if we can afford a gym membership, why can't we afford a membership for something that I used to do, which was making music? I would use this app called Soundtrap. That was it. Soundtrap. It was a website that you got to go onto, and it would basically give you access to digital instruments that you could use a little MIDI keyboard or your own actual keyboard to play music. But the problem was, when I was doing that, I was only using loops, and I was mashing them together and saying, hey, I made a song. But in reality, I just grabbed other people's work and clips of other people's work and just kind of mushed it in there. To be fair, they were giving it out for people to do that, but it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like my own kind of music. It didn't feel like it came from me. It just felt like, oh, I think this sounds good and this sounds good together. I basically was an editor of music and not a composer of music, and I wanted to compose music. So I'm like, if we can do a gym membership for like $10 a month, why don't I do this membership for $10 a month? And she allowed me to try it, because she's like, okay, your career is in multimedia, and that's like the only thing that you don't do is make music, so sure, go for it. And I'm like, cool. And again, I made a few songs. If you find my SoundCloud and you'll find those loop songs, they're trash in my opinion. I hate them, but I mean, some people said that they sounded good, so I was like, okay, whatever. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't feel like my own music, so I don't really like it. Anyways, I canceled that subscription back in the day because I could not afford it. And then, just recently I tried it again, and I tried it for exactly 2 hours, and I paid them for the full month, and I used it for 2 hours, and I'm like, I do not have any musical talent. Everything I make sounds like horrible noise with no structure, no rhythm, no nothing, just a bunch of beep a bop boop boop, and like drumming sounds like and drumming is like the hardest thing to do, where you want as many sounds in there as possible, but you don't want to over flood it with different sounds. Like, it's like one of those less is more kind of things, but at the same time, more is good. And I just could not figure out how to make my own music from scratch. And I'm like, I cannot do this if I can't make music from scratch. And I canceled the subscription after 2 hours. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a refund for that or not, but hey, here's to hoping, right? But yeah, it was weird because, like, I remember in high school, I actually took a piano class, and I was pretty good at it. I had my own keyboard that I got from a garage sale that I was using at home to practice on, and I just was practicing a lot and was able to read sheet music right away. And it was really cool. And, ask me back in my freshman year, I was able to play Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata flawlessly by memory. But then I lost my keyboard and I didn't feel like buying another one, and I couldn't find one for the life of me on Craigslist or eBay for super cheap. So it was like over $500 for a new one. And I fell out of piano completely. And now, if you give me sheet music, I will not be able to tell you what notes any of them are. I would not be able to identify anything on a sheet music, and I would also not be able to place my hands correctly on a keyboard, let alone even play Mary Had a Little Lamb. The only thing I would be able to play is that thing that you would play with the black keys where you would run your knuckles across them and press the one with your pinky knuckle and then run your knuckles across them and press the one with your index knuckle. But yeah, that's what I was able to. That's what I'm able to play now. But like back then, man, and give me a keyboard now, I won't be able to do it. So I haven't been like motivated to spend my money on a keyboard. And that's one thing that like I think I would be really good at investing money into, and I think it would be a good idea, but at the same time it wouldn't be a good idea because I would also have to buy whatever instrument I feel like playing, whether it be guitar or keyboard. It would be one or the other, either guitar or keyboard. Keyboard being like piano. I'm just gonna say keyboard or piano. You know what I mean. And I would love to play both, but that is extremely expensive. And if I can't afford $10 a month for a gym membership, I definitely can't afford a membership for music classes and also instruments and junk like that. And it's just such a hard thing to get into, really. It really is. But yeah, I would love to make my own music. I would love to write my own songs and everything, but at the same time, it's also time consuming too. And I just feel like my life is so divided up by so many different things nowadays that I can't really say, hey, I have free time right now. Any free time that I have is somehow I find a way to put it to something that I haven't done in a while. So God forbid I give myself one more obligation, such as school or another job or anything like that. I would actually for real be completely overwhelmed, as if I'm not already. But yeah, an update on the podcast, by the way. I purchased microphones. Yay! I purchased some microphones for my mobile device. And for those of you who didn't listen to the sponsored segment at the beginning, the app that I use to make my podcast is called Anchor, and they are a website and a mobile app, and they are amazing, so definitely check them out. But I wanted to be able to record podcasts either if I was away on a road trip or if I was at a friend's house or whatever. I want to be able to record podcasts wherever and whenever. So I purchased these clip-on microphones that plug into my phone, and I also got a Y-splitter cable that allowed me to plug in two microphones at the same time, so when I am at a friend's house or whatever, I can interview them and have them as a guest. So yay, we're gonna see a little bit more of that. The audio quality isn't the best, but it's, good enough. It's good enough. It's better than some podcasts that I've heard in the past. So, better than nothing. Correct? Correct. Yes. Thank you, Tovar. Very insightful, Tovar. I know Tovar. But yeah, that is, that's what's currently going on with me. I have some deeper emotions. I've been a little bit depressed, lately. A lot of things are not bringing me joy. When I'm like watching TV, I'm not finding any TV shows that I feel like actually just sitting there and watching. I can't find any video games that are really actually fun for me to play unless my friends are on, and even then, like sometimes and most of the time, they are really boring to play. And it's just a weird rut that I'm in right now because it feels like nothing brings me a lot of joy other than family and friends. And sometimes that can fall under too. Sometimes I get so upset and so overly emotional that I'll get into an argument or say the wrong thing, and things either become awkward or very heated. And it's just not what I want in life. I want everything to be peaceful, but life is like a roller coaster. You gotta take a lot of dips and a lot of dips and more dips, and you go underground and you keep dipping and you go deeper and deeper, and you see the core of the earth, and you just keep going down, and then you come out in China and you're like, wow, I'm riding a roller coaster through the Great Wall of China, and then you keep going down, and then you're like in space, but then it goes up like for a little tiny hill, and it's like, wow, cool, I got up, and then it keeps going down until you go to the edge of space and you suffocate because you can't breathe in space, and because this isn't Jimmy Neutron. Where was I? Yeah. That actually brings up like a really weird memory of mine. Like, I always loved that scene in the Jimmy Neutron movie where they like convert all the like roller coasters and theme park rides to rocket ships. Does anyone else remember that? And they go in space, and I think they even mention at one point, or it wasn't in the show, I don't remember. At one point they mention, how are we in space and how are we able to breathe and talk in space without wearing helmets? And they're trying to explain it, and like I think Shane was just singing in the background with his annoying voice, like over top of Jimmy actually explaining what was going on. And like that whole entire sequence was so cool to me because, like, wow, I could only imagine riding a Ferris wheel in space. That would be so cool. Like a roller coaster ride in space. But then, like, I get on the Raging Bull at Six Flags and I'm about to shit my pants. When I was a kid, I actually went onto the Raging Bull, and it was, I don't know if they changed it, but to latch you on, they had these little poles with like a plastic kind of like table / handlebar that would kind of just press against your abdomen really hard, and a small little seatbelt that went around your waist. That was about it. That was all that was kind of holding you in. And my seatbelt wasn't going around me because I was a big boy. And so the technician was like, you'll be fine. Just go ahead and have the table thing or whatever. Just have this. You'll be fine. And I'm like, okay. And I have the table thing against me and whatnot. And we're going up the hill and everything, and I'm holding the thing against me, and I feel like it's a little bit loose. And I'm freaking out like, please stop the ride. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I do not want to do this. Please, no, 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 no. And I was screaming that. And everyone's like, shut up. No, we're doing this. It's okay. You're going to be fine. We get to the hill droppy thing, and I push forward because that's where my gravity was going. And the way that you would unlatch yourself from the table things after the ride was over was pushing back a little bit harder on your abdomen, pushing the table back towards you, which I was doing when we were going up the hill, and then pushing forward, and then it would come off, and I pushed forward when we were going down, and the table started to go forward. And it took all my strength and all my pent up fear to pull back the table against me, and it was loose for the rest of the ride after the first hill. And if you've never been to Six Flags before and you've never been on the Raging Bull before, then I don't know how else to explain it to you, but it's just look it up on YouTube and you will know how much fear was actually in my body at that moment. But yeah, that is one of the scariest moments of my life. One of the many scariest moments of my life. Wow. We've been talking for 26 minutes and 39 seconds, and I have no idea what I talked about. That's what's great about this. There's going to be multiple episodes where I'll probably say the same thing again, and I'll probably talk about the same subjects, and I'll probably tell the same stories and whatnot. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't believe I mentioned, but I did start a TikTok, and I had it up there for a couple of days, or not a couple of days. I had one like months ago, and I made 2 stupid videos on there, and I never touched it again. But my girlfriend does have a TikTok, and she posts to it almost on a weekly basis. And I was like, I gotta do something. So I did do something, and then another thing, and then another thing, and then another thing, and now I am blowing up on TikTok because I made a bunch of videos in one night. So if you are a TikTok fan and you miss the good old days of Vine and whatnot, that is what I am trying to do on TikTok now, is basically trying to make my Vine. I actually had a Vine account too, which was a lot of fun. I miss that. But yeah, I have a TikTok, so definitely check it out. Tovar the Awesome, all one word. If you like TikTok at all and you just want a quick little dumb laugh, I promise I won't do anything like really cringy. Well, I can't promise that. I promise I won't do the typical TikTok stuff, if that helps. Unless I'm doing it ironically. Anyways, yeah. And I made one TikTok today that there was a spider on my bed that crawled up to me, and I started freaking out, and I started recording it, and then it crawled towards me, and I screamed, and I was like, I posted it with the hashtag perfectly cut scream, and it has been blowing up on Instagram and on TikTok, and I'm hoping that I see myself like on a compilation. Anyways, guys, that's gotta be it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope to record more episodes where I just ramble on for 30 minutes. If you haven't yet, check out the other episodes. The last episode, I interviewed my grandmother, who is an awesome, awesome person. So definitely check that out. Also, check out all my other social media. My Twitter is where I update my personal life and everything like that the most. So definitely check out my Twitter and my YouTube. Just search Tovar Perry on Google and you will find everything there is to find. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you in the next podcast.